Hi guys, this is Marcelo Titi and welcome back to our channel, Out Nigeria Hustle. If you're new on the show, please don't forget to click the subscription button and the notification bell to notify you of new and exciting episodes we bring to you every week. With me on the show today is Anthony Owei. He's an award-winning entrepreneur in the technology and agricultural space. We're grateful to have him on the show. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Anthony, for most of you who don't know, he's an award-winning entrepreneur in the technology and agriculture space. And we're excited to have him on because, like I just told Anthony, I have a brother who is in poultry farming. So a lot of us who have been thinking about it or were already doing that, I think it's an interesting topic to talk about. And it's very exciting to meet somebody like him who's continues to do more, has done so much when it comes to agriculture in terms of poultry and technology, bringing them together. So welcome, Tony, to the show. We're excited to have you. Really, thank you. I know you're very busy, so we really appreciate the time that you've captured us to have this discussion. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Selena. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. So we have a couple of questions, and sometimes, they say people who do great, mighty things. Sometimes you don't hear about them. You don't know. And it's only when when shows like ours talk about them that you begin to say, really? You're sure that guy's Nigerian? You mean he's doing that? So for those of us or those of our audience, our viewers who don't know who Tony is and what you're about, because we followed you, you have such an interesting profile, and would like to know a little bit about yourself. So if you tell us, feel free to blow the trumpet. That's what we do here.
Okay, like you said earlier, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm in the agriculture and technology space. And the last 7 years, I've built 3 businesses that are doing so well in the poultry value chain. In terms of the usual go to school thing, I have a first degree in international business and finance from United States International University in Kenya, and I'm currently an MBA student in food security at Business School Netherlands. I think, and then about a little bit of certifications, awards, and all of that around. So some of them. But basically, what I do is I sell chicken, meat, and eggs.
We're humbled by that. Okay, let's start selling chicken and eggs. Okay, Tony. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur? If not, how did the journey begin? And if yes, what was the motivation?
Well, I don't think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. The first thing I wanted to be was to be a soldier so I can become the head of state of Nigeria, actually. So I grew up during the military era when you have government by fiat. Someone just comes and say, I suspend the whole institutions of state, I suspend National Assembly, and I'm not head of state, So I went to command secondary school. So I did a bit of military training a bit when I was young. When I was younger, I'm still young. So when I was younger. So and I felt the only way to present when I was younger was to plan a coup. When I was younger, I would tell my younger brother to
coup.
that was the reality that I had. That was what I grew up into. And then I would tell him to stay my back as my ADC, and then I wear big dresses, maybe without my dad, and then make a speech and all of those things. I did that when I was still younger. When I was in secondary school, what I wanted to become was an engineer. And why was because I had an uncle then who was probably the most traveled in our family then. He worked in Chevron. So I felt, okay, I want to be an engineer. I want to be like this guy. So I wanted to study mechanical engineering, what he studied as well. But unfortunately, when I went to school, I didn't do mechanical, I didn't do sciences. I went to do accounts and commerce and all those other stuff. And eventually, I found myself studying banking and finance in a diploma level. I did a bit of 3 years things in banking. And then my first degree was international business and finance. So while I was doing banking, actually, anyway, banking was then, I think it's still prestigious a bit. So their sectors are very prestigious in Nigeria. If you go to school, they will tell you go to school, get a job, and the jobs will be telecoms, maybe banking, oil and gas.
Be a banker. It was a big deal. I'm a banker.
That's the thing. So I also grew up like that kind of average child who also wants to be just get a job, and all of that. But while I was doing banking, I wasn't struggling with it. I was doing it very well, quite well, but I wasn't getting fulfilled. Banking was we're supposed to go to work very early, maybe 7:30 you resume. I'll go to late to work. I was doing it. Not that I was not doing. I was not dull. I could do it, but I wasn't really. I was tired of it. I wasn't getting fun. It wasn't working the way I wanted to work. I knew that was not where I wanted to stop, but I didn't know what next I would do. And then eventually I resigned in 2009, and then I went to Nairobi for further studies.
Okay.
And while I was in Nairobi, I saw things differently. Like usually what I do is when I go to new places or environment, I imagine what is going on there. I observe people around, what do they do different from where I'm coming from and all of that. And what I saw was agriculture in different light. The idea they were sold to us when we were growing up was that you need to go to school so you get good jobs. It's those who don't go to school, are not educated, that become farmers in the countryside, in villages, and they are probably poor and they're illiterate. And the thing was that we didn't figure out that the food we eat is produced by those people. So even if you work in an air conditioned office, you're a banker, you are an engineer in oil and gas, you have all the money in the world, you can't eat the money. You seem to eat food. Someone has to produce the food. That was a disconnect. So I saw agriculture in a different light in Nairobi when I was in Kenya, and I saw those who are farmers. The farmers we were sold to was once wearing torn clothes and all of that. But I saw farmers who are actually entrepreneurs, farmers who are leading multi-billion businesses, exporting tea, cut flour, coffee, and all of that out of Kenya to Europe. So I was like, this is factually farming. So why the lie to us, And then eventually,
a big lie.
And then in 2011, I saw that 2011 I experienced East African drought. About almost 1 million people were died, and about some millions were displaced in the Horn of Africa. So around Kenya, I think Somalia, Ethiopia, and all of that, they had some bit of drought at that region. And that time they were begging for food aid. So it occurred to me again, and I said, two things involved. If you're begging for food aid probably from Europe or from North America, South America, any continent of the world, it means that the farmers there have grown enough food or produced enough food to feed themselves before they can export to you. That's one. Secondly, I did international business and finance, so I have an idea of international trade, and it's done majorly in US dollars. So meaning that the farmers who are exporting their food from their country to your country are getting US dollars, they're getting foreign exchange. So I'm like, okay, so why are you saying farmers are poor? Because if they are poor, who are the ones earning the foreign exchange when they import food to your continent, So that was it for me. And then I started doing my research in agriculture. And I discovered at that time in 2011, 12, that Africa imports about over 30 billion US dollars worth of food every year. So that was it for me. So I was like, okay, there's money in this thing. So who sold this light to us? So that was my first idea of agriculture. Now, the entrepreneurship part came in when, while I was also after graduation from college, I worked for an impact accelerator, a Danish consulting firm in Nairobi. And while I was there, we're working entrepreneurs. So those who have ideas or early stage ideas, they just come around, we guide them, tell their stories and help them to raise funding, build businesses from the ideas. So that was my first 1 year experience while I was interning there, working there, to get an exposure to entrepreneurship. So when I saw this and I was like, okay, this is what I should be doing. I want to do this thing, That was when I felt, okay, I should be doing this thing. So I said, okay, if I want to do this thing, where do I start from? I've seen an opportunity in agriculture, right? That's exciting. So, and I believe that at that point is, if we actually invest properly in agriculture, do it properly, we'll create jobs. Unemployment issues around the world, but in Africa is actually higher. We can create wealth for those who invest in those businesses. And at the same time, we feed ourselves as a continent. So if you're feeding yourself, you can create jobs, you can create wealth along the line. So that's why let me go for agriculture. And yeah, I think that was it from 2013. So when I came back to Nigeria in 2013, I started writing my first business plan. And then I started the first business in 2014. And then since 2014 till now, I've been doing the same thing.
That's pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you decided you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Agriculture was my thing. Why did you pick poultry? What led to poultry? I mean, you said, okay, agriculture, there's money there. I can make money here. I can do something. Why poultry?
So a lot of, it's not just about the money, right? But the money is important. I say it everywhere. Money is important because without the money, sustainability is far from you. If you don't make from anything, it's not sustainable. You can't continually repeat and serve the customers you're serving. So money is important, but at the same time, I think if you provide value first, more value attracts money. So value first, then money comes after the runs after value. So why poultry? In terms of agriculture, I decided to be an entrepreneur. So not just agriculture alone. So tomorrow you can find me doing in other sectors I like, because the core thing about it is that why I decided to be an entrepreneur was I figured out myself, I think it was in 2011 or 12 thereabout, and I said, what actually what do I want to do with my life? And I defined my life purpose to create and support platforms for individual freedom and economic opportunities. I explain that quickly. So whatever you see me do, it's either I'm creating something or I'm supporting someone that has been created for individual freedom, meaning that anything at all that can make people attain the peak of their potentials or economic opportunities, creating jobs and wealth. So whatever I do centers around that line rather. That's my life goal. So entrepreneurship for me is like a tool. I told you earlier that I wanted politics. I wanted to be in governance and leadership and all of that. Pre-2012, when I was writing blogs, articles, and all of those things, I wrote about governance, leadership, and politics. So I felt getting political positions was the best way to affect lives. Mm-hmm. But I knew that in this our political system in Nigeria, I won't thrive. So I said, okay, if actually I wanted to go into politics because I thought the platform where you can affect more lives, then there should be something else that can affect lives. So entrepreneurship for me is a tool. It's a tool that can also affect lives, but probably in another different dimension. Mm-hmm. So agriculture was one of it. So probably tomorrow you can see me in another sector and all of that, but it's centered around the same goal of individual freedom and economic opportunities. That's the life. That's what I do. That's what I'm doing in my life. So poultry, agriculture is very wide. There's a livestock part of it where you have the poultry, cattle, cows, goats, and all of those things. There's aquaculture where you have fishes and the sea life, and then you have farming. So I felt which was easier to go into, which is the one that has the greatest impact. So I felt let's go to poultry because for my research, if a poultry farmer thrives, the impact across the value chain is very huge. So for instance, what we do is there are crop farmers who produce grains for feed manufacturers who produce feed for chickens. Mm-hmm. So if we are thriving, means there are crop farmers who are thriving. Correct. If you are thriving, means there are feed manufacturing companies thriving. Correct. Those businesses have investors, have employees, all of that. And then because we're thriving, there are hatcheries, those who produce the day-old chicks. Now, there are those who produce the parent stock that produces the eggs for the hatcheries. They're also thriving. And then again, you have those producing vaccines and drugs for the birds. Then it comes to us producing the real chicken and the eggs, the farmers. Now, for those manufacturers to reach us, they go through distributors. So those distributors along the value chain also are employed. Then again, there are transporters in between who move those logistics guys who move those things from one location to another location. They're also in business. Then when we're done producing, there are market men and women who actually resell or retail what we produce to make a bit of profit before it gets to the table of the consumer. So I felt poultry had a very huge value chain that is very impactful, and at the same time, it's very quick. So you can see the impact of what you're doing as quick as possible. So from that subsector of agriculture, you can now move to other ones, maybe backward integration, other subsectors in the value chain, and make other impact. But poultry for me was because it has a huge impact and it's quick to see the impact that poultry is. That's why I chose poultry.
Well said, Tony. Well said. You have 3 businesses across the poultry value chain. Some people struggle to succeed with just one business. How do you juggle 3 at the same time?
Okay. Yeah, I've talked about that before. Okay, so I think I didn't set out to say let me just start multiple businesses at once. But I think while doing it, you see that there's a need for this one to come up. So we started first with production and processing. So we felt, okay, do this chicken thing, just produce chicken meat and eggs for your customers and be okay, you know. And then when I started off in 2016, 15, 16, I had challenges at the beginning. So challenges of access to markets. I also lost my startup capital then in 2015, and not because the money was disappeared, was because we actually invested more in infrastructure than the working capital, the operations of the business. So that's why I tell budding entrepreneurs that if you're going to any business, what you need to do is ensure that you spend more of the money, bulk of the money you have or capital, into income generating parts of the business, not into infrastructure or aesthetics, making your office very beautiful, have ACs and all of those things. Those things don't bring customers, don't bring income. So spend more money on what brings income, not on aesthetic or infrastructure that doesn't bring any money to the business. So eventually I was able to get the hang of the business, I think 2016, 2017, thereabout. And then I have other farmers who approach me and say, oh, this thing you're doing, how are you doing it? So I tell them, okay, there's a vaccine protocol that we follow. We actually developed ourselves that we use. And I say, follow this procedure. It works for them. And some are going to say, I have mortalities, I have issues, I have this and all of that. And I'll tell them, well, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And it works for them. And then there are guys who also see the results of what we're doing and they said, I want to invest in your business. So because we didn't actually want to distort the model that we had, so we said, okay, there are these farmers who actually need this knowledge that have actually experienced over the years building the first business. There are those who actually want to put their money in poultry farming, but they are scared of mortalities. Yeah. They don't have the time because of their 9-to-5 jobs, and they're looking for alternative investment platforms where they can put in their money. So we said, okay, let's do something else for them. Let's make a convergence where these two people can meet, and then we're going to be brokers in the middle. Okay. So that's how we started business. So it's complementary to the first one. And then starting businesses, another advice maybe in between is for budding entrepreneurs, actually we say from my experiences, for a small business, you don't struggle to create markets for your business. Identify already markets, and then you produce or you give to them what they want to buy, because you don't have the resources to create appetite for your product. For a Coca-Cola, for instance, or Nigerian breweries, for big operations, for Apple and all of those people, they can actually create a product that is not in demand and create an appetite for it to be demanded. Mm-hmm. As a small business, you don't have that resources. So what you need to do to thrive is identify a market already with money to buy what you're selling, what you want to sell to them, and then you produce that thing, and it's easy for you to sell to them. So that's what I did. So I asked questions, and I asked people, I said, you have 9-to-5 jobs, but you don't, and you want to look at investing in poultry farming, but you don't want to do the job yourself. You're looking for alternative investment platforms. There's the treasury bills and the money market and all those things that are there. They pay far less than the inflation rate currently in Nigeria. So putting your money probably in those instruments is basically losing money, because if you put $1 million in money market, at the end of the year, you get maybe 5-6%. Yeah. But at the end of the year, inflation is 20%. So your money has dropped in value by 20%. Your money actually increased in value by 6%. So you lost 14%. Correct. So we said, okay, fine. Let's create a platform where we can have a convergence of these people, the farmers, as well as those who want to invest their money in poultry farming. So that was why we gave out to E-poultry. So E-poultry basically electronic poultry, just the name, and is a platform leveraging on technology, mobile and web apps, to ensure that we connect those in the public who want to invest in poultry farming, and then those who actually need the money to do the farming themselves. And then again, because there's risk involved, so we're like probably de-risking investing into agriculture. And at the same time, farmers also have challenges. And the challenge the farmers have is that they always say is lack of money, lack of funds. But traditional banks don't give loans to agriculture, most of them. They decided they do that now, but they didn't do it because they felt it has high risk. Second was the issue of farmers don't see what they do as businesses. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm an agri-business person. I'm not just a farmer. I understand the business of farming. So there's farming, there's business of farming. There are two different things. Producing food and having the business of producing food are two different things. They're not the same.
Yeah, you know what you're saying. I had a guest a few weeks back who is also into agriculture, and he has the same mindset. And I said he brings the boardroom to the farm. So yeah, that's the thing. Think business, not just I'm selling one small thing and then you go to bed.
A programmer is different from a technology entrepreneur. Correct. So a technology entrepreneur builds a business around programming. A programmer just continues to use his skill to do programming. So there's a difference between being skilled and converting that skill into a business that can last for a long period of time. Correct. So our farmers don't see what they do as actually business. They think it's just part of their culture. Almost everybody's a farmer. In their backyard, they have something there. In the villages, everybody's growing something. So it's like a chore, a cultural thing, what we do year in, year out. So it's also as a business. They don't keep records, they don't grow, they just keep doing the same thing over a period of time. So no bank or investor will put money in there. So we felt, okay, let's change this narrative. And what we're basically doing is that a platform where those who want to invest come to that platform, they put in their money, and then we de-risk it and ensure we buy inputs for farmers with that same money. So farmers don't have to bother about access to finance issues. It's solved for them. Then access to skill. They have also problem of improved skills. So what we can do also is train them, share our own, what works with us, our vaccine protocols, our ideas, what we do, our process and all of those things, so they can thrive. And then the last part was the last business as well. While people will think of, oh, okay, produce, you have money to produce. Another thing from small business owners don't think about is the market. So that you produce or you're in a business or you're selling anything is not the issue. The issue is that are they buying it? Are you selling? And are you selling profitably? So we felt access to market was another challenge farmers had or they have. So we felt let's create another business that actually focuses on access to market for farmers. So just on producing, focus on processing whatever you want to do, then we just focus on helping you to sell. So the third business, Chicken Palace, basically was actually inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic, actually. The first thing was that in March, the first lockdown in 2020 March, we actually tested that thing in the market, and we used our Facebook and Instagram platform to start selling chickens online. Stay in your homes, let's deliver to you. And I remember in the month of April, we ran out of chicken. So in May, we were struggling to get chickens to sell, actually. So because that was working, so we created an online platform, chickenpalace.ng, where people can order for chickens, chicken products, eggs, and all of those things, and have it delivered to their homes. And then in September, after the lockdown, we followed up with our first chicken outlet, a physical outlet. So Chicken Palace basically is an access to market business for poultry farmers, both online and physical retail stores. I started that one as well. The third one, focus on access to markets. So in the value chain, one business focus on production and processing, the other one focus on bridging the gap between farmers and financing, solving finance problems. And the third one, Chicken Palace, focus on access to markets for them to sell. And then how do I juggle the three businesses together? I think the first thing is they are related. One thrives with the other. That's the first thing. Then the second, how do I do is that I'm heavy on structures. I'm heavy on building a business that will outlive me. So I'm not building a business. So that's another thing I will say again is that there's a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. They're not the same thing. If I'm self-employed, I'm doing something to give myself income and it ends with me. So if I'm not there, if I'm gone, the business also is gone. But an entrepreneur is people who build structures, who build systems, who build people to ensure that those things can thrive when they're not there. So I think what has made me manage them is because I've had this knowledge of building systems, structures, and people. So we have those who head those businesses that are there. So what I basically do is manage those people. So it's very easy to say, I just manage those people, it's easier to say.
Very difficult.
Actually, yeah, it's actually difficult. But there was a time I was actually doing it myself. I was making eggs, giving them feed, buying these things and all of those things. But I grew out of it. And another thing again is that why you have to grow out of it for business owners is an entrepreneur is person or a CEO is someone who is strategic in nature. You are focused more on strategy than operations. So if you start a business at the beginning part, you are involved in operations, day-to-day runnings. How do you buy? How do you sell? How do you buy? How do you sell? But as a CEO, you're supposed to grow out of that and go into strategy and growth. So you're thinking of how do I get enough resources for them to sell? How do I ensure that there are enough people to manage this business? How do I ensure that they can grow? Corporately, we are growing, individuals are growing. How do I ensure that they are thriving? How do I ensure that I can attract more investors? How do I ensure we can expand our market share and all of those things? So that's what you're thinking of. So you have already groomed people to handle the daily operations, and then you shift into the part of strategy where you can also now manage those people. So my job basically is more of managing people than managing the business itself. So managing people indirectly, also managing the business. So for me to juggle these things together, I think it's not easy. It's actually very tough. But we'll keep building, investing in structures, investing in people, investing in systems to ensure that yeah, they thrive when you're not there. And finally, again, in technology, I also look at ways to do what we do better. My son will tell you, my person will tell them, life is too short to be struggling and suffering. So I'm always looking at ways to ensure that we improve our processes. Because we're doing farming doesn't mean that we should be archaic and
Yeah.
just be at the. So I'm looking at our waste management system, trying to improve it, ways we manage our beds, improve it, the ways we sell to our customers, improve it. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about our buying experience in our chicken outlets. So improve it to ensure that when people come around, they're just thinking that we're just buying chicken. They should have a feel of being taken care of. Oh, these guys have us in mind. Then they come and become repeat buyers. So if you're heavy on structures, on systems, on people building those things, it's easier for you to run a business. So yeah, that's how I run 3 businesses together.
That's interesting, and I commend you for that. It's not very easy to keep that happening in Nigeria. So, well done, well done. I have a question. You did on your e-poultry platform. Do you sell birds that you grow your own birds, or do you have farmers who supply you also? Do you have other farmers that are not under your umbrella who supply, who are part of that chain, or is it just the chicken from your farm?
Okay, so as of today, over 90% of the chickens we sell are not from our farms.
That's interesting.
So our capacity cannot manage the customers. There are times we run out of chicken and eggs. So then in terms of the chickens, the idea of e-poultry was to ensure that we work with several farmers. So we are democratizing the poultry value chain, ensuring that people can participate.
Yeah.
So another idea is this. We said creating jobs, creating wealth. So if you're creating wealth, of course, you are fighting poverty.
Correct.
So those are no poverty, no hunger, and all of those things. So we will actually work with SDGs 1, 2, 3, the 3 goals, to ensure that we work with more farmers so they can have more inputs. So a farmer that is doing, let's say, 100 birds today, with our partnership, with the funds on the platform, when people invest those funds, we can use those funds to buy more inputs for the farmers. And then at the end of the cycle, we take from them, process, and sell. So that's the value chain. So when you provide funds, we use the funds to buy inputs for the farmers so they can increase whatever they're producing from 1,000 to 2,000 and so forth. And then we now take those birds from them, and our access to market business sells them. So that's the value chain. So we grow some of our chickens ourselves. We have farms. We currently have 2 facilities. I'm actually working on the 3rd one. But at the same time, we have more farmers to work with around the country, from Umuahia in Abia State to Port Harcourt in Rivers State, Benin in Edo State, far as Ibadan in Oyo State, Warri in Delta State, and some other in Bayelsa where we're located. So work with farmers in those several states to ensure that they have enough inputs to produce more to service the market, and then we can have more to sell to our customers.
You have farmers in Lagos because Lagos is a big market. Oh, the farmers in Lagos have too many customers. They don't have any more to spend.
We don't work with anyone in Lagos currently, and I know most of the farms are not in Lagos. They are probably in maybe some part of Lagos, Ekpe, or in Ogun State. So many people
places where they're
yes, where they have land, and then they move the birds and the eggs all over to Lagos.
Correct. Okay, so how do farmers who want to get in touch with you? What do they need to do? People want to come.
Basically, send an email, hello@e-poultry.ng, or call the number on the website, e-poultry.ng, and also my contact. My name is, if you Google my name is, my number is on internet. Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. We'll leave his information on our discussion page so you can reach out if you're interested. Okay. Something that got me really I kind of chuckled a bit, like, oh my God, he met this person. So for many people, the only politician they'll ever meet is one from their locality. But you've been a guest of 3 presidents. How does it make you feel? Does it put you under any sort of pressure, or just tell us? I mean, mention the names of the presidents. Feel free to mention their names. I mean, we know them, but you can.
Actually, for the Mama Foundation, when we were in South Africa for the physical meeting before COVID broke out, President Obama was actually not there physically. Yeah. He joined us via Zoom. And then I think we had another meeting also later last year, also via Zoom. So I didn't meet him physically, it was via Zoom. But basically, I met quite a lot of people anyway in my work. It has given me a lot of platforms. But meeting presidents, meeting diplomats, meeting top government functionaries, and all of those people, I think is a privilege, right? It's a privilege that nobody should take lightly. But at the same time, I think while I was doing this from the beginning, I didn't set out to say, okay, let me do this so I can meet presidents or I can get awards and all of those things. I didn't do that. That was not in my mind. Mine was just, oh, there's a market for this thing. Let me do entrepreneurship. You can create businesses, create wealth, and all of this. That was what I was doing. But meeting people, I think one has to be gracious about it. The first thing for a young person is maybe a bit of self-esteem. If your self-esteem is not being worked on, you probably be maybe fidget and all of those things. I'm actually also a shy person. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to be a shy person actually, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm so shy or not. Meeting those people is just based on value. So you meet someone.
It becomes some form of validity, like, yes, I'm doing something right. I should keep doing that.
So when you meet people, I think it's just I don't know. I've not thought about it actually, but I'm just trying to put the thoughts together. Who I've met. I think someone I met physically the closest to President Obama was this speechwriter and Deputy National Security Advisor, I think, Ben Rhodes. And when I met him, the conversation was basically about, oh, you know, okay, first people like to take pictures, you know, bragging rights, you know, I've met this person. We do that a lot. But actually, what I love to do is I build network. It's important to build network because as an entrepreneur, even as a politician, in any career you are, there comes a time where all the books you've read, the knowledge you have, the skills you have, they will cap you at a particular level.
Correct. Very true.
Is the network we have around you that will shift you. So the network will open the doors, then the skills cannot manifest. So that's why I can't say, okay, let me build network without having the content. So the content will also play a part, but the network opens the door. So if you want to do that as well, I think it's basically just work on yourself with the goal not to meet presidents or to get awards, but to ensure that you have content, build this in genuinely, and then put yourself out there to ensure you can access these platforms because they're actually very great. I wouldn't want to be oblivious of the fact that because of my probably visible network people I've seen or people I've shared with in the past or presently, there are those who take me more serious. It's normal. I usually get, whenever I do maybe as an event or an award or attend a particular program, I put it on social media, okay, I saw this person, I met this person, we talk about these things. I probably get an email or get more followers or something. Something happens. People take him more serious when you think you're doing well.
This person is listening to him or speaking to him. That means he's doing something right.
You can take him more serious. People probably take him more serious based on what you think, what they see. So, but the idea was just basically to ensure that you be a person of value and then provide value actually. And when you meet those, put yourself out there, also be a person of value. You don't have to be a parasite. So if you build networks, you're giving to the network, you also get value from the same network as well.
Exactly.
I think that's
exactly. Yeah, I think it's very important. Most people isolate themselves and they don't understand the value that networking brings, you know, and you can't move forward if you isolate yourself. I mean, I like to pick people's brain. People that are older than me, younger, you know, I ask questions like, tell me, honest, you know, I want to learn. That's how we grow. You can't grow if you think that, oh, I've arrived and that's it. You need to learn from the people before you and the people coming behind you because they know something that you don't know. That's very important. So not just about taking pictures, but picking their brains, trying to understand what makes them think, you know, and trying to say, I'll apply that to my life. So, man, even if you met President Obama via Zoom, I mean, I love the man. He inspires me.
Actually, in the meeting, I think the one of his staff, one of the foundation staff then actually briefed him about our business. So when he was talking to us, making a speech, he actually spoke about our business, and I was like, oh wow, he talks about our business. I was more excited.
Great. Tony, compared to other parts of the world, you've lived in Kenya, you've worked everywhere, almost everywhere, not everywhere completely, but you have an idea, an international view of how business is done globally. So in comparison to how business is done in Nigeria, how would you place it? How would you compare Nigeria to other places?
Nigeria is a case, is a different case entirely in this world. So there was a time I was having a conversation with one of our board members. He's actually also my lecturer at my MBA in business in Netherlands. And what we always say to us is that if you're trying to do business in Netherlands, don't consider political risk. It's a non-existent risk. For them, they love stability. They don't change their leaders. So you can say someone that's Prime Minister of Netherlands or the Netherlands is there for probably for 10, 20, 30 years. The person is there. So they don't change policies anyhow. They don't just change leaders. They love stability. So in that kind of place, if you're doing business, you know what you can predict what will happen. You know how the policies are, what will affect your businesses, the tax regime, and all of those things. It's easier. But in Africa, and especially Nigeria, a president has come after somebody's turn and come and change all the policy and discard everything and do something he wants to do. You know, so some of these decisions are not stable. Some of them are based on their emotions or their personal, how they personally feel, you know. So doing business in Nigeria is actually very tough. The environment is actually tough. It's very tough, really tough, because there are many things that are not present in terms of regulations, in terms of law protecting you. Multiple taxation is there, and then the quality of people, because as a business person, you need to work with people. The quality of people they also have here, because the skills gap, the skill sets people have, there's a lot of gap. For instance, there's drone technology now, there's a lot of programming and all of those things. Some of those things that are actually working now are not taught in our schools. It's not in curriculum. Nobody gives a degree in drone technology.
I hear you. I hear you. What you just said reminded me of my last case, and he said exactly the same thing. That they developed like a drone that sees that a pest is going to come, and the drone, has the ability to make sure those pests don't, take roots in your crops. But like we don't have that, so the pest comes, we don't see it. Yeah. And so combining that together.
I don't know. I don't think we are just so terrible as well, but there are good parts to Nigeria. And the good thing about Nigeria actually is that because of these many challenges and these gaps, there's a lot of opportunity. Exactly. There's a lot of opportunity. So the ideas I just tell people, and I said, some of the businesses we do, the ideas that can thrive in Africa. If you go to somewhere in Canada, in the US, Europe, it won't work because they've gone past that stage, So the opportunities here is also good for us to build businesses. But at the same time, I think issues of infrastructure, logistics, power, the regulatory systems, access to capital. So you're building a business in Silicon Valley in the US, for instance, you have access to a lot of money at maybe low interest rates. In Nigeria, you can't get a loan at 2% per annum or 3%, or angel investors. They're not readily available. It's actually so difficult to build ideas to raise money in Nigeria. That's why you see a lot of these American VCs, European VCs investing in Africa, and then the pay stacks of this world, the Flutterwave and all of those people, a lot of foreign investors, foreign venture capitals invest in them. So that's why money is coming into the continent. The opportunities are there, but also are missing. So doing business in Nigeria is actually tough, but at the same time, I think it's also exciting because it's a peculiar, different environment. So that's why if you're building a business in Nigeria, you don't go and pick up the business book of someone in the US and say you want to do this and build in Nigeria. It's totally different. Our managers are different. The way you approach the market is totally different. So you have to understand the environment of the business you're doing or the economy you're operating in to do it. But it's challenging, but at the same time, it's also doable. Some of us are doing it. Many people have done it in the past. Have built multiple businesses from this same economy. So I think we just continue. And the only way we can actually create jobs, we can actually move people from poverty, we can actually make the economy better.
Yeah, Tony, you said it so well, because what I get from that is, and what as Nigerians we know, where people see a gap, we see an opportunity. So that's why people say Nigerians there are a lot of entrepreneurs in Nigeria, because we think about, okay, I've been around the world, I've seen these things work. How can I make it work at home? Where's that gap? And how can I create a business from it? And that's what we see a lot of Nigerians doing. So you have a point. It comes with a lot of challenges, and we cannot deny that. But then we make things happen. That's who we are as Nigerians. You say successful entrepreneur in Nigeria, you need to shake his hand, because there are a lot of things that can just frustrate you, make you want to give up. But you're so resilient. You're like, nope, I'm going to I'm going to break that door down.
Someone can just come up in the government and make a law that will wipe out a whole sector.
Correct.
Someone just say, I feel like making this particular law, and then the idea is targeted at a particular sector, and those businesses are wiped out. Innovation is wiped out. So the regulatory environment is actually very tough. And in Africa, I would likely say, I say again that regulatory agencies in Africa, what they basically do is that instead of trying to help to build businesses, make them do better, I think around Africa, regulators think when they kill businesses or when they show their muscle that they are regulators, that's what they are doing their jobs. So they disconnect. While in other climes, in senior climes, regulators are looking at ways to ensure that businesses thrive. Because if businesses thrive, the economy can move, jobs can be created, unemployment is
right, because they ask themselves, we're going to make this policy. What are the businesses that are going to be affected by this? What percentage of our population do they employ? And those are very important things that every government should ask themselves before they make policies. So you're right. What are the biggest lessons you've learned so far?
Biggest lesson in entrepreneurship. I think the first lesson I've learned is you don't go into any business without first understanding the market. Market first. Understand the market. It's not business plan. Don't do business plans first. First, the market. There was a banker I was speaking to, I think a month or two ago, and he said, "Oh, we'd like to provide some funds to you, do a business plan." I said to the man, I said, "I don't do business plans. They are unrealistic. They are unrealistic, and I don't do business plans." And I said it very casually. Now, don't get me wrong, business plans are still very great because they capture almost every part of the business, operations, growth, financials, and all those things. But it's not business plan first. Is the market first. Is there a market for what it is I want to sell? Are there people around there that will demand for this product? How long? Is it seasonal? Will it be there in another 10, 20, 30 years? For instance, what we're selling now, in a couple of years, those producing fuel guzzling cars, using petrol, all of that, will be out of business in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So it will be the Teslas and all those people that are producing electric car vehicles that will be in business. So you reevaluate your business and think, if I'm doing this in another 20, 30 years, am I still going to be in business? Will there still be demand for my business, for my product? So market first. Then after market, then you determine your business model. If I'm going to go into this thing, selling this thing, how am I going to make money? Am I going to be profitable? What are the margins involved? So when you figure out the market, the business model, how you're going to generate revenue, then you can think of, okay, let me build a business plan around this market and this business model to ensure I have a very good view of the entire part of the business. So what I've learned is first, the market, biggest. I think I've also learned managing people. I've learned managing people. I work with different kind of people, their temperaments and all of those things. So I've learned on how best to manage people to get results that we need to get, then in entrepreneurship, what have I learned again? Oh, okay, yeah. I think I also learned that there's a reward for building people and building businesses. I've been rewarded in a massive way. So building businesses, building people, building organizations, that's a reward. You don't have to put the reward first, but if you do it with your heart and put yourself on the job, you get results and you get rewarded for it. Great. I think these are some of the lessons I've learned.
Yeah, people don't understand how diverse Nigeria is. It's a multicultural environment. It's so diverse that you think it's not the same set of people. It's a beautiful culture, complicated, you have to you need some special skills to understand how to deal with Nigerians, your customer from the north, from the south, from the east, even in your community, the small villages. You need to understand their temperament, how to talk to them. So it's something. So if you meet the Chinese, you have to be this. If you meet a Nigerian, you have to know where exactly you're from Nigeria is from, so you know how to approach him. How old is he? What is important to him? It's very complicated things. So if you manage it with Nigeria, I give you, I salute you. It's really important. It takes a lot.
We're just doing it. We're just doing it. As the day comes, you meet any challenge, you also address it and you move on.
Yeah, correct. Any last word for young aspiring entrepreneurs?
Young aspiring entrepreneurs. What I'll say to them is there are no secrets anywhere. Let me tell you my secret. There are no secrets anywhere. I think what people can just say is that for any successful entrepreneur, what they might probably have one or two things they are doing, which works for them. It might not work for you. What works for everybody is different. So that might probably be a secret or whatever it is, a success story, secret behind the success. But generally, there are no secrets. I think the secret basically is be heavy on knowledge. Know the in and out of your business. If you're doing a business, you want to sell air, you want to sell shoes, you want to sell bags, know it. If you wake me up tomorrow to talk about poultry anywhere without any preparation, I'll just keep talking. So know the business first. And then secondly is be heavy on improving that knowledge and also be consistent. Don't start selling shoes tomorrow and then in 2 weeks' time you want to sell bags, and then in 3 weeks' time you want to do makeup artist, and in 3 months you want to be a restaurant. You don't be jumping around.
Don't be a jack of all trades.
No, it's not possible. But it doesn't mean that you cannot invest in several other sectors.
Correct.
Go for something. Be consistently doing that thing. People are looking at you, and they've said in the first 3 years businesses die, and then another first 5 years again. If you have gone past the 3 and 5 years threshold, I think something like that, then I think you're in good footing. So you can't pass the 3 years threshold, 5 years threshold, 10 years threshold if you're not focused on the business. So first, be heavy on knowledge, choose your own path, and be consistently doing it. And then focus. You can't say you want to build a business, you're in all the parties in the world. Time for parties will come.
Correct.
You can't. We're somehow, problem not they finish. There's this lingua, problem not they finish. Enjoy yourself. This is tough. So you have to devote yourself into building it. If you want to build it. If you don't want to build, leave it and get a job. It's easier to get a job and get salary. And then again, everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. If you're a career person, whether in the public sector or in the private sector, you are an entrepreneur, non-profit person, whoever it is, choose your career path. Everything is a career path. All are valid. Because you're a career person, earning salaries on employee doesn't make you inferior to an entrepreneur. Because an entrepreneur doesn't make you superior to somebody else. No. The CEOs of the biggest corporations in the world today, Apple, Microsoft, and all of those people, they were not founders. They didn't found the company. They were just their employees that agreed to become CEOs of those businesses, and they are multi-millionaires in dollars. So if it's money you're looking for, there are different paths to it, And then again is that I'll say is that in terms of if your goal is I want to be wealthy, well, it's good, be wealthy. But the thing is, even though you're an entrepreneur, you earn your income as profit from your business. You're a career person, you earn your income from your salaries and bonuses. Both of you are earning income. So what will make you wealthy or build wealth over the time is being an investor. So everybody else also has invested in many things that can give them returns or more money from where they are. So choose your path. Talk to yourself first. Have a self-reflection. Do I want to do this thing? Because being an entrepreneur it requires a kind of mettle. There's a particular courage that you need to be an entrepreneur. There's a kind of risk you take. And I tell people, and every forum that I speak, there are two ways to succeed. Either you join somebody that's leading a particular course and you think, oh, this person can lead me, or you become the leader. The difference is that if you are not the leader and you're following a particular great leader, you can rely on their wings, fly with them, and then move as fast as you can move. Or being a leader, you're the one sacrificing, you are bearing all the risks, and you are sacrificing a lot of things, your own personal comfort, your time, your privacy, and all of those things to ensure you carry a lot of people along and build the business. So if you're not there to build anything, sacrifice, suffer a bit. When I'm talking now, it looks very nice, and I'm talking for probably a very clean background. You see, I've seen an art painting
In
and
a
so
better
on.
way, so.
It was never like this 7 years ago when I started off. It was never like this. It was rough at the beginning. You pay the price. I had people tell me that time. I said, "Why you came? You went to go and spend dollars for school fees and came back to Nigeria, and you are going to the bush? What are you doing in the bush? That kind of thing." So it's for you to understand the conviction. This is what I should be doing, and do it. I have a conviction I should do what I'm doing. That's why I'm very, very much into it. I'm very committedly doing it, and there's nothing wrong in saying I want to do also poultry, I want to do maybe cow, do crops and all those things. But there's a power in being focused and convinced and committed. So I've been doing just poultry in the last 7 years. We've built 3 businesses around it. We're actually working on building a fourth one around the same poultry value chain. So there's nothing wrong if I do other, go to other parts, but this is what I should be doing. I'm convinced I should be doing this. That's why I'm inside this thing. I'm doing it. So at the point tomorrow, I might try to do something else, but still, this will be working. So another thing about entrepreneurs is that before you go into another business or another sector or something else, ensure that what you did first, you build it properly and you don't kill it for something else. If something is working, keep doing it. Don't stop. Just keep doing it. Ensure it works. But finally, look for the reason why you want to do what you're doing, so that when it's challenging, you know that, hey, I'm doing this thing because of this reason. I'm not giving up, because challenges will come.
Correct.
I think that's what I would say to young and aspiring entrepreneurs.
Well done, brother. Thank you so much. We really, really salute your hustle. It's inspiring, and we hope that more people are blessed hearing this. And it gives somebody who is about to give up hope to understand that just be persistent, focus, and it will happen for you as well. Thank you very much, Tony.
Hello, my name is Anthony Owei. I'm an entrepreneur and I sell chicken and eggs for a living. That's my hustle. What's your hustle?
Hi, guys. That was Anthony Owei. It was really exciting speaking to him. We hope that we have learned a lot from him, and we hope it inspires more people to chase their dream and stay true to themselves. If you haven't subscribed, like we keep saying, please do so. And those who have, we appreciate your subscription and your fellowship. Don't forget to click the notification bell to notify you exciting and educative guests that we bring on the show. Thank you, and God bless you. And you remember what we say, what's your hustle?